I've got to check to see if this thing is on. I was trying to watch a video by Phil Good about the Rainbow Bridge that goes from 4D to 5D. Um, Jesus Martinez kept saying, "Stop the tape, stop the tape." So we stopped the tape, and then the battery ran out on the tablet, and I don't really know what he was going to say. So our friend Quimby always said, "Well, if you're gonna, watch somebody give a video before you really get too much into how they explain it, why don't you explain it yourself?" So, what is it like to go? Um, well, 3D is old Earth, like if you lived in the 1970s. I was just watching Joni Loves Chachi with Aaron Moran and Scott Baio, um, Al Molinaro, and guest starring Tom Bosley and what was her name? His wife, Mrs. Cunningham. It wasn't Mary Lou Henner, that was Taxi. Anyways, that was very 3D in those years. And 4D is the transitional realm. Philgood was explaining this is the realm where everything in your imagination lives. And then 5D, the only thing I got for 5D was the old 1969 song that I keep coming back to. The Fifth Dimension was the name of the band, and The Age of Aquarius was the name of the song. And as far as I don't know what Phil Good was going in, the Rainbow Bridge to me is the bridge that connects where we used to be to where heaven is. And I always called that the Rainbow Bridge. And, anybody who passed on from here that went up into, somebody says the light, but, heaven, all your, dead dogs and dead cats and dead relatives. And, you know, that's where you expect them to be. And I always thought that was where the Rainbow Bridge went. Is the fifth dimension that same place? That beats me. Am I in the fifth dimension? No, I don't think so. I still think I'm in 3D, just so you know. I think it's still the same world it was back in 1978 or whenever Joni Loves Chachi was on. I never watched the show back in the day, but I did watch Happy Days, and we actually had the Happy Days board game. And it's long since disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. Um, anyways, there was something, and maybe it'll come to me later, but something about the board game. It was very, cute for someone who was 10 or 12. What else can I tell you about? Um, I was trying to stick on topic of this 3D, 4D, 5D business. I don't use 4D and 5D. I use the scale of human consciousness because this 3D, 4D, 5D thing, I don't know what it means, and it doesn't seem very scientific. And then there's these other ones that call them densities, like I don't know how many densities they talk about. Third density, and I don't know what density, I don't know what that means. It's too confusing. So I like to use the scale of human consciousness, which was pretty much talked about by Dr. David R. Hawkins, who was a psychiatrist and at one time worked with Nobel Prize winning scientist Linus Pauling in orthomolecular biology, which was something to do with vitamins. Anyways, Dr. Hawkins wrote quite a few books, and he always referred to the scale of consciousness. The scale is a logarithmic scale, and if you don't know what that means, you need to go on Google or something and look up what a logarithm is. But it basically means if you go up 1 point on the scale, it doesn't mean the same as 1 plus 1 equals 2. If you go up 1 point on a logarithmic scale, it might be a jump of like 10 points. So that's just a backgrounder. The scale Dr. Hawkins uses runs from 1 to 1,000. 1 on the scale is the consciousness of a single-celled organism such as an amoeba. 1,000 is the highest you can get while you're in a human body. And examples of people who have been at 1,000 are given as Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, Krishna. There's probably more, but you'd have to refer to some, maybe Truth versus Falsehood, Dr. Hawkins' book, because he calibrates the consciousness of so many things in that book. It's very interesting. Anyway, so 1,000 is the highest you can get while you're in a physical human body. Beyond that, yes, there are beings that calibrate much higher. Apparently, archangels calibrate up to 50,000, and an unlimited would be the direction of God, I suppose. So what you need to know is from 1 to 199 on the scale is a very negative frequency. These would traditionally be things, well, I don't know. You can look it up. It's readily available if you do a search engine search for a scale of consciousness. 200 is the magic number. Once you hit 200, then you go from being a negative thing to being a positive thing. 400s in the scale is logic and reason. I'm not sure if it's logic. Somebody put logic into my head. I've got a number of difficult students who are constantly interrupting me, and it means that they put their 2 cents in. And I don't think it's logic, just so you know. Reason, I think, is the proper name for it. Then in the 500s, when you get to 540, you get to unconditional love. Once you get up to 700 and above, you're in various states of enlightenment. What else do you need to know? Let's see. Dr. Hawkins calibrated the Christian Bible, the books in the Christian Bible. None of them calibrate at 1,000. None of the books calibrate at 1,000. And the Old Testament, only 3 books actually calibrate above 200, which is positive. Genesis, Psalms, and Proverbs. In the New Testament, they all calibrate over 200, so they're all positive books, except for one. And you must know about this one. This is a key thing for you. The book of Revelation calibrates at about 70, so very low calibration, which means it's a negative book and it's not truthful. So someone was asking me, and I talked about it yesterday, about Jehovah God, which is the Old Testament God, which is a very vengeful God. That's basically not the real God. That is basically, a very low frequency human trying to design a God that is basically very egoic, like a very low frequency human. Someone wants me to talk about all the mass shootings, and I think I did mention somewhere along the line, I think it was on a Facebook post, that having freely available guns to the population at the current time is stupid, because plenty of people are possessed by highly negative frequency fields that calibrate between 1 and 199 on the scale of human consciousness. And people like this are exceptionally dangerous. So if you give someone who has no compunction in doing murderous rampages, and if you give them guns and assault weapons and tanks and nuclear weapons, you've got a madman, a psychopath with dangerous weaponry. They also want me to talk about exotic weapons that get into the hands of lunatics like this. These are not commonly known weapons that you might find in a military catalog. These ones are known as psionic weapons. And I mentioned in a recent video the example of psionics to be, maybe it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer ago. There was a bunch of American staff at the American embassy in Cuba, Havana, Cuba, and they were feeling very sick, and they were feeling very, their minds weren't working properly, and they had to go see doctors. And these were psionic weapons that were being used on the staff of the American embassy, possibly microwave based. And what they do, well, they can do a number of different things. This is only one psionic technology that is available. There are other ones that can interfere with your body functions. As you know, the human body works on through the nervous system, and the nervous system works electrically. And some of these technologies can hijack the nervous system of the human body to various degrees, depending on how advanced the technology is. And it can even be used to, well, move your body in certain ways, involuntarily moving your body. I believe that some of these technologies can be used to implant thoughts into your head. I know they can definitely interfere with your ability to speak. They can give you nightmares, and I think they can also cause hallucinations. It's possible that you might have auditory effects where you might start hearing voices. And, typically when people hear that, they say, well, if people are hearing voices, they've got something like schizophrenia, and it's a mental disease. But I'm telling you, no, this is a psionic attack. So the psionic attack can make your skin feel itchy or feel like you are being tickled by things like feathers. They can massage your genitalia, and yes, they can do all kinds of things like this. And because they can go right into your nervous system. And well, look at how advanced the technology is on a smartphone. And I'm using this smartphone to record myself. I couldn't possibly figure out how it works. But if you figure if the technology is this advanced and it's a consumer item, how much further advanced are military items? It boggles the mind. Anyway, they wanted me to tell you about that because you need to know all kinds of secrets that have been held back from the general population. And in the end, that's all I have to tell you today. Thank you for watching.